So welcome to the second day of Vipassana meditation. So there are a lot of questions that I have been listening. Some people are not able to observe the breath. For some other people, there are a lot of thoughts that are coming in the mind. And for some, there is a lot of body pain. We have never been used to sitting for so long. So let us see what is the actual question that should have been. And that is maybe the question that is there in your mind. But there is no courage to ask that question. A lot of time it happens in our life. We want to do a lot of things and ask a lot of questions. But we have lost the courage to do that things. The real question is that whatsoever I am doing, is it taking me close to the truth or not? If I am sitting and observing my breath, will it take me closer to the truth and show me who I am, my real self? Or maybe in very gross words, will Anapana Satyog meditation make me enlightened? Very straight question. So I have received this question once. So, there is a very beautiful story about the origin of Vipassana meditation. Unless you know the origin of things, unless you know the base of things, how are you supposed to build on it? How are you supposed to understand it further? So let us go to the very core, very deep and a very meaning and how it originated. So this is the story of Lord Shiva. For people who do not know, Lord Shiva there are three gods of Hindus. So one of the god is Lord Shiva, and he is the god of destruction. Whenever there is a yugas and there are existence, and whenever their existence is coming to an end, so there is a very beautiful story that Shiva dances, and that is called Tandav, and Shiva is the god of destruction, god of transformation that brings change. So the wife of Shiva is called Parvati, born from the mountains, Parvati. So she symbolizes nature, and then Parvati asks Shiva or requests him, Shiva has 7 disciples called the Saptarishis. You would have also seen that the origin of yoga somehow was linked to Shiva, and Shiva was the first guru that taught the Saptarishis the yoga or the tricks to get enlightened, the techniques to get enlightened. And Parvati was very, very interested. She used to observe them and see the rishis when they meditate or when they do yogic practices, they were getting pure and radiating. And Parvati also wanted to learn that. Such a beautiful technique. Then Shiva argued that you are my wife. All the husband and wife will have this argument. Why do you need it? You might ask your husband to go for shopping and he might say, why do you need it? So similarly Shiva said, no, you don't need it. You are my wife. You are already enlightened. You are a Devi. Why do you need it? But whenever, even if you are enlightened, even if you are, at a certain position, but when you see children playing or when you see a very beautiful thing, you like to perform with that, you like to know about that. So when you get attracted to something or you start loving someone, you want to know more about it. So Shiva was someone who Parvati loved, She wanted to know more about Shiva. What is he teaching to his disciples? So Shiva taught very, very powerful techniques called the Vigyan Bhairav. There are 112 meditation techniques. Meditation made very differently for very different people. Generally we will see that only one meditation being taught to everyone. But Shiva did not do that. Shiva taught 112 meditation, and that is all. Any meditation that you will see on this planet happening is a part of that 112 meditations. There is meditation for creativity. There are special meditations made for the human body and the human emotions. There is special meditation that is made to do in motion, as you have heard of dynamic meditation. And there are different meditation to make your body hollow and empty. So let us come to the origin of Vipassana meditation and let us see how Buddha is related to Lord Shiva. Buddha took up the first technique and the foremost technique that Shiva taught to Parvati. That is, Shiva told, when you take a breath in and when you breathe out, there is a gap between the breath. And if you are aware of that gap, you are enlightened. Nothing is required to be added. Nothing. Such a simple technique. But it is very profound. So that simple technique became Anapana Satyug when Buddha took it up, and that is the technique which made Buddha enlightened. Listen very carefully. So when we learn Anapana Satyug, what did Buddha do? What change Buddha brought was, let us forget about the gap. Because if I teach you about the gap, human mind is such that it is goal oriented. So you will start running behind the gap. You will not bother to be aware of the breath. But the technique is that just be aware of the breath. And how can someone miss the gap? If you are aware, utterly aware of the breath, can you miss the gap? Yes, the gap is bound to happen one day or the other. So if you keep practicing the Anapana Satyug, the gap is bound to happen. Satori is bound to happen. No one can stop it. So you might not get enlightened by breathing in or breathing out, but that is the bridge that takes you to that gap. And that is the true essence of Vipassana meditation. That is the true essence. Yes? So now you know the secret? So I'll meet you tomorrow. Till then, keep practicing Anapana Satyug meditation.